Welcome. Good evening. I'm Miss Jill, and this is In the Know. So normally on our In the Know segment on Tuesdays, we talk a little bit about community involvement, the community as a whole, what the needs are, entrepreneurship, and just good people in the community in general. So tonight, I do have with me some of those good people. I want to first welcome Miss Tei Ferguson, Mr. David Hooker, and of course, our panelist, Clarence Smith. So thank you all for being here this evening.
Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. How's everyone?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
Good. A bit of a weather change, but we welcome it. Definitely a little more chilly than it was last week. So happy fall. So this evening, we're going to be discussing a couple of things. We're going to be talking about S.T.A.R Care Services, which is a business in the community that just celebrated their eighth
Yes.
anniversary. So 8 years in business is quite a big deal. So we're going to kind of just talk about what S.T.A.R Care Services is, what Mr. Hooker and Ms. Ferguson's role is, and how they both got to be a part of S.T.A.R Care Services. So I'm going to start by Ms. T, if you could just give a brief introduction as far as what your affiliation is with S.T.A.R Care Services before we go into what S.T.A.R Care Services is.
Sure. I am the director of S.T.A.R Care Services. And as you said, we just celebrated 8 years, October the 1st. So we're very excited about that and grateful to be a part of the community.
And that's a big deal. 8 years is a big deal.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Mr. David Hooker, a brief introduction as far as how are you affiliated with S.T.A.R Care Services?
I'm actually a graduate of S.T.A.R Care Services that went on to become residential staff at the services.
So now you're working for the company that you came in as kind of a resident or somebody that was going through the program.
Yes, ma'am.
Gotcha. So what is S.T.A.R Care Services? So S.T.A.R stands for something. It stands for sincere, trustworthy, accountability, resource liaison. Do I have that correct?
Yes.
And its mission, S.T.A.R's mission, is to provide comprehensive addiction treatment and transitional housing to individuals, helping them to overcome their addictions and regain control over their lives. That word control is very important. We're going to talk about that as we go along. So that's what S.T.A.R is. I want to talk a little bit about what S.T.A.R was birthed from. So with any business, it comes from somewhere. It doesn't just come together. So both of our guests this evening have agreed to be completely transparent with their role, their interest in S.T.A.R Care Services. So I'm going to start with Ms. T, because right now S.T.A.R Care works with the parole system, the federal probation, general probation, drug court. In fact, Ms. T just won an award. I think it was I have to look because I wrote it down, the Albert Woodbury Award of Excellence, and that was presented by Judge Gull and Allen County Drug Court, and that is quite a prestigious award to be presented. So I want to talk a little bit about your experience with the criminal justice system before you had a program that worked with the system, and I want to go back even further because I want to talk about what the program was birthed out of, if you don't mind kind of starting back there.
Sure. I hope we have enough time in the segment. Honestly, the program, the whole concept came from my own life story.
Okay.
The life I have today was quite different from the one I lived many years ago. I was heavily involved with drugs. I drank heavily, daily, constantly. I didn't have a vision. I didn't have any foundation in my life. I felt that I wanted to be whoever someone else thought I should be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I struggled with finding my own purpose. You know, I'm definitely a late bloomer. I didn't find my purpose too much later in life, being active in the streets, not taking accountability, being in toxic environments, around toxic people.
Right.
Myself being toxic,
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, it starts with ourselves.
Yeah, right.
So,
right.
it led me down some dark paths. So S.T.A.R was based off of that journey, what I went through. My life choices eventually led me to federal prison.
Okay.
Certainly nothing to be proud of, but I also stand in my truth. So That journey actually probably saved my life and made me a better person.
When you first got to federal prison, did you right away start being in compliance, telling yourself, I know what I have to do next? Tell us what it was like when you first got there, what your attitude was towards it, what your mindset was. Were you ready to go? Were you ready to change your life when you got there?
Absolutely not. It's still it's an ever constant journey of self growth. When you're in prison, you know, we tell ourselves all these great things. We're going to do this, and you deceive yourself. We have good intentions, but once we touch back into the city we're from or wherever, you know, those old ways set in quickly.
Yeah.
You need that time to readjust, recommit your life, and to find your vision. So, yeah, did I have good intentions? Absolutely. But they didn't carry through once I came home.
Okay.
I still needed that adjustment period. So that's when the halfway house time came in.
Okay.
I had 6 months halfway house time. That helped me greatly. That helped me integrate back into the community. It slowed me down enough. My life would probably be totally different had I been released from prison and been just set free into the streets.
Right, right.
Okay.
So that supervision was enough to keep my attention. You can work every day. I've always held a job. It's what I chose to do around that job. What did I choose to do before work? What did I choose to do on my lunch break? What did I choose to do after work? What did I choose to do on my time off? We always can find a way. We can destroy our lives at any second. So for me, that halfway house time made me be intentional.
Okay.
It made me have to focus on a job, rebuilding my life. You know, I came home with nothing. So
Yeah.
I truly did have to start my life over, you know.
Do you think so? A lot of times, and we talked about this on the panel with the criminal justice system and coming out of prison, whether you're in there for 2 years or 25, just reintegrating back into society and having that 6 months. That's not always, you know, a mandatory situation. Some people get probation, some people get parole, some people are done, some get ordered to a halfway house or to a program per se. And, you know, we see that all the time in this business is reintegrating back into society. And I'm going to move over to David.
Wait. Before you move forward, Jill, I want to ask Miss T, because she spoke and she said something, and it's something that I find problematic with the prison system, especially the modern day prison system, because it's more commercial than it is anything else. Now, there was a time where you wouldn't have come out of federal prison, especially without skills or without any kind of some kind of trade or something. Do they not have the skilled trades or things in the federal prison anymore for rehabilitation, or are they just a housing facility right now?
You know, it's my belief all prisons are human warehousing. It's what you choose to do at that time. It's strictly dependent on you. You can take every class that the prison offers. You can take, you know, everything. But if it's not taken with purpose or true intent, you will fail. So federal prison, one thing I can say is different from state is, you know, you work in federal prison.
Right.
You don't lay around in your dorm or in your cell or wherever you're at on your unit. So that is a big difference. And absolutely, you do get some skills, some things that I would have never done in my life. Driving a JLG lift, something that they use in commercial construction. Where in my life would I have ever driven one of those?
Right.
But I drove in federal prison.
Right.
So they certainly have an opportunity to work different jobs and get experience, but nothing certified where you can actually bring it home.
Nothing transferable. Okay.
Right. Because most jobs have their own certification. So you still would have to get recertified.
Okay.
Gotcha.
All right.
Gotcha. Good question. Going to David, because I talk about reintegration, and I had the opportunity for a little over 2 years, and I call it an opportunity because the position that I held, which was the manager of a staffing agency that specialized in hiring felons. I called it an opportunity because it opened my eyes to so many things that I wouldn't have seen otherwise. And one of those things, I got to see how hard it is for men or women to reintegrate back into society. I'm going to give you an example of how many gentlemen came to me and couldn't fill out a job application, okay? Couldn't read, couldn't write in cursive, which isn't a big deal now because the kids can't write in cursive either. But these are grown men and grown women. So you expect them to come right out and go to work, right? Because parole's after them, child support's after them. Everybody is on them to find employment and get out there and work. So I got to see firsthand the behavior of those men and women. One of those gentlemen is sitting with us, David. So David had got out of, was it a 20-year sentence?
It was a 17-year sentence with a 6-month break and then 2.5 more years.
Gotcha. And this is for a nonviolent offense, keep in mind. So when David came out, he joined or was ordered, correct, to go to the program?
I really wasn't ordered to go to the program. I was at the Salvation Army and was terminated from the Salvation Army. I was ordered to go to the mission, and I just refused to go to the mission. And lucky for me, my parole officer worked with me. He called Miss T. Miss T said, we'll give him a shot. Okay. And here I am today.
Okay. So when David came to me, he was just fresh out. I mean, it was basically he joined the program, and one of T's main components of the program, the main rules is you're going to go to work. You are going to go to work. Absolutely. A lot of these programs require you to sit for a certain period of time. Well, what does that do? It gives you too much time to think. Right. You need to be out there. You need to be rebuilding your life. So David came to me for work.
Well, hold on, before you move forward, Jill, because I am right now a novice because I've never heard of S.T.A.R. And you said you've been here for 8 years. And I work in social work, and I've never heard of S.T.A.R. Never in my life have I heard of S.T.A.R. So as this is my first time hearing about it, what is S.T.A.R? What is the components of S.T.A.R? What makes up S.T.A.R? And how do people get into it? Because I've never heard of it, and I'm a social worker. So give me some background about S.T.A.R.
We're a hidden gem almost. I had a parole agent tell me, actually one of her clients found me and ended up in the program. And she told me, I'll never forget, she said, you hid the house too well. So the goal of our program is to show that the clients, the residents can blend right into your community and you don't know that they're there. Sober living homes shouldn't be flop houses. They shouldn't be filthy. They shouldn't have people all over the front yard. So we have good neighbor policies. So like I said, we've been around for 8 years. We started with transitional housing. So we wanted to make sure that people have a safe place to recover. You know, people go to treatment. They come out of other halfway houses, other programs, but they don't have the next step. Where do I go? Where can I maintain my sobriety and not have to worry or be compromised about drugs and alcohol? Yes. So when we opened the doors, we started with our first home, Inspiration House. 3 years in, we added our second male home, which is a Journey Home. Okay. And then going on 3 years now, we added our first female home, which is Diane's Home of Hope. Okay. So the homes provide the necessary structure. They're a happy blend of integrating in the community, building some skills, but still having some supervision and someone to hold you accountable. We also are licensed through the Division of Mental Health and Addiction, so we provide full addictions treatment. Okay. Yes. Okay.
Now, my second question, and then we can go to David, correct?
Yes.
Okay. But my second question is because you said, you know, the good neighbor policy, and I've worked in social work, so I've been to those flop houses, those transitional homes that, you know, are just, you know, bed and breakfasts, for lack of a better word. So is it the intent to keep S.T.A.R under the radar, to keep it where it does not fall into those other categories?
No, I openly promote it. We have a website. Actually, we have a full billboard on the corner of Pontiac and Lafayette.
Okay.
So we certainly promoted all criminal justice providers use our program. We accept everyone. We statewide. We have people come actually from out of state to be in our program. So the prisons are aware. Sometimes it's the people in the city, I think, are the last to know.
Yeah.
But we do offer full services. So
Yeah.
nope, not an intent to hide it at all. I think the people that know.
No, the people that need it know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And David, you were saying you went through Salvation Army, which is a great program. That program's been around forever. And you said you've been through the rescue mission. That's another great program that's been around forever. Now, not working in those programs, because I won't say failing out, but not working within those programs, what was different that you found in S.T.A.R?
I actually didn't make it to the rescue mission. I just naturally refused because of all the bad publicity that I heard about the rescue mission, all the drug usage and all that. And I seen it firsthand by going downtown.
Yeah.
And so when he ordered me to the rescue mission, I just flat out refused. I just called him and told him, look, catch me when you can. And he's like, no, you stay there at the telephone booth and I'll call you back. He called me back and she allowed me in her home. And it gave me back a little bit of self-worth.
Yeah. Yeah.
It provided me the stability to go out and look for a job. And once I started working, I was able to save money and and it was slowly integrating me back into society where I was totally confused at first. 20 years, they put me a cell phone in my hand. I had no idea even how to use it.
The technology part of it, I would think, would be massive.
Yes, it was.
Would be huge.
A story that I like to tell is part of the program here at S.T.A.R, you can only have one cell phone. Well, I had two, but I didn't know how to work either one. And she's like, I should terminate you right now. She hit the roof. And I'm like, Miss T, I don't know how to work either one. You can have both of them.
Yeah. So when David came to me, he was looking for work, and I could tell he was nervous. In fact, I called T after, because T would refer all of the gentlemen to me, and I called her and I said, if you are going to send somebody that is that flipping grumpy, you need to give me some kind of warning, because it didn't matter how I spoke to this man, how I smiled at him, what I joked about. He didn't want to hear it. He didn't want to be there. He didn't want to work, but I worked on him, and he ended up being one of the, if not the top 5 best employees that I had ever had walk through the door and that had ever worked at any of the clients that I had placed. And this is a gentleman that most places would have looked at his paperwork and said, absolutely not. And for those of you that did that, you missed out, because he was a great employee then. He is not only an employee today, but he is a mentor. And these people coming in, the men, for example, in the men's home, everybody has a first day. They need to see, A, that it can be done, because he did it. B, absolutely, they need to be held accountable. And something that we talk about a lot in the meetings at the home is they're grumping about the rules. And as T said, these rules are designed based on what I needed when I was going through this. One of those rules, you have to have earbuds so that you're not disturbing the whole home. Well, that's the dumbest rule I've ever heard. Well, nobody asked you what the rules are, because you are in a controlled environment, because when you had control of your life on the streets, where did it get you? And the answer is always, it wasn't very good. So this home, like Clarence was saying, there are flap homes. There are, you said bed and breakfast, and it actually was funny. We laughed because that's what she says. This is not a bed and breakfast. You are not forced to stay here. The beds stay full. The phone rings off the hook. This is a place that the parole officers, people call and put their clients in this home because they know it's tough. Yeah. If you want an easy place, they joke about it and say that's not it. And when you walk into this home, it is immaculate. These homes, David, I mean, they are immaculate.
Well, you said something, Jill, and I want a perspective from both. Miss T first, and David as a person that went through it. I'm fresh out of incarceration, be it state, be it federal, be it, whatever. I'm fresh out. I've been there 20 years, David, because you understand. I've been there 20 years. I don't know what's going on now.
Right.
What does my first day look like? How do I feel on that first day? What do you give me in that first day to say I can be in this program and make it? Miss T?
I think the first day really just comes down to, we try to give a good pep talk. Where do you want to go with your life? Are you ready to stop? Are you ready to surrender? When people come through the door, they know if they're going to put in any effort or if this is just forced through the courts. When they step through that door, they already have their mind made up. So the ones that actually want to put in the work and the effort, I give them that talk. I try to use my own life testimony. David, we encourage them. I try to give them so many examples of real life testimonies, not what you've heard, not what someone else told you, people that you can see live and in color that changed their life and became better people. I encourage every day. I tell them you have an opportunity to be a better person.
Yes.
David, tell me, as a walking in 20 years straight out of some incarceration, you said this program's not working, that program's not working, because I know you had first days every day. What was the first day at S.T.A.R that sparked you, that said that you could do it?
It was actually overwhelming. And what I did, and they laugh about it today, I stayed up all night, my very first night, reading the rules over and over and over. And I was looking for something that I absolutely could not do.
To get out of it?
To get out of there. And when 6 o'clock rolled around and I was able to get up and move around the house, I wasn't able to find anything. So I signed the rules, gave them back to her, and said, I'll do this program.
Yeah. And rules, and Jill was going to go over the rules, but I understand rules set structures and everything. But, and I can understand that. I've never been incarcerated, but I hear being told what to do so many times, right. and now you have this freedom. Now you got to follow more rules.
Right.
See, it was not the life you were looking for. Am I correct?
It wasn't, but it was the life that I knew that I needed, because there was like a month there that I was out on my own, and it was right back where I left off.
Right. Mm-hmm. And one thing else Jill said as I was listening, and Miss T and David, you both can speak on it. Most transition homes or most places come in 3 to 6 months. You can't do anything but go through programming.
Right.
You have to go through programming 3 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Why does S.T.A.R not do that?
We are actual program.
No, I mean that you can't work a job.
Oh, yeah.
It's all programming.
Each home is different. Some homes, they prefer that you not work. There's some programs you don't work for your whole 6 months. Mm-hmm. When I developed the policies and the program in general, it was based around what was necessary in my life. That'd be great to take a nap for 30 days or 6 months. But if I'm no better when I leave the program than when I came in, what good did it do me?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
If I come in unemployed and no money, and 6 months later I leave and I still have no money, it served no purpose in my life. So this program is to build financial stability. We all have to work, and that's part of getting out of that criminal mindset, mm-hmm. that we can cheat the system. We can mm-hmm. find a way to get money without working. So I teach them self-discipline, mm-hmm. accountability, being at a certain place at a certain time. We need those things. Anytime our life gets off track, generally it's due to lack of self-discipline.
Right.
So the program pushes that financial independence. The goal is for them to be able to live on their own, get apartments or homes, not to go back to another shelter or be homeless or couch surf. So that's why the rule is in place.
Yes.
Yeah. And David, when you heard that you have to get up and go to work now, after 20 years, mm-hmm. you get up, go to work, what is that? What does that mean? How
Mm-hmm.
did you transition into that life?
It was rough at first, but once I got that opportunity to work, mm-hmm. it became a challenge to me. The place I worked at was Burn Apparel, and they had like a board gauge the employees. Mm-hmm. So I took it as a challenge. I wanted to be number one.
Right.
Every week, number one. Mm-hmm. And I accomplished that. And then once they started doing the layoffs, when their busy season ended, mm-hmm. I found myself still there.
That's good.
It gave me more encouragement.
Yeah.
And that's how I dealt with it.
That's good. That's great.
To go a little deeper, well, first, before we go there, T, if you could let everyone know how they could find out more information. And I also just want to put in this reminder, Clarence asked and we touched on it, but the services that S.T.A.R offers, they have a nurse practitioner. They have actually a separate facility that is directly affiliated. So when someone comes in, they will see a doctor. They will see the NP. They will go for IOP services. They can go for mental health services. So that is definitely something that is part of the program. And these guys and these girls are busy all week. So there are house meetings. There are meetings that you go to outside of the home at Park Center. So they are always busy and doing something, which is the object. So I want to go a little deeper. Or go ahead and talk about first where they can find S.T.A.R, like as far as your website.
Our website is starcareservices3.com. You can email us at starcareservices3@gmail.com. And you certainly can call the office at 260-702-0925.
Okay, thank you for that. So when T received the award from the judge and the Allen County Drug Court, something that she said, and this is, I don't want to leave this out because this was a very important component. I've known T for years, so these are things that she has personally shared with me on a friend level as well as a business level, is her faith. So T, you were quoted saying, I'm so happy that my higher power allows me to walk in my purpose daily. Again, I'm so happy that my higher power allows me to walk in my purpose daily. You said that upon receiving the award. And I just want to talk about that statement because I know it is that higher power that kept you going when nothing else did. It is that higher power that pushed you when you wanted to fall through. So let's talk about how your faith was an important component, if not the component, in this entire journey.
I'm a firm believer that everyone needs a spiritual path. You know, NA, the big book teaches you, they talk about a spiritual journey, a higher power. I certainly believe in that. You know, I believe in God, whoever your higher power, whoever you choose it to be. I think everything I've done, I walk in faith. When I started S.T.A.R Care Services, I walked in faith. I had a vision. I wanted to execute it, but I had no money and no help. Mm-hmm. I did actually try to reach out to the community to no avail. So I moved forward. I walked on faith. I had a job, actually. I had actually opened the home, not a client in the home, but I was scared. I didn't want to leave my job, my guaranteed income. Yeah. So I went back and forth and some things transpired. And I took it as a sign to go. So I went to the home and I went every day for like a week and made calls. I went to work just like I was going to work. I went to the home, made calls to the courts. Can you get your team out to come tour the home? I'd like to tell you about this program. And by the end of the next week, the house was full and we've never looked back. Yeah. Every time there was an expansion, an opening of another home, you know, I walked on faith. I believed in my higher power. I believed that this was the journey that he has for me. And one thing I've learned in my life, what God has for me, no man can take.
Amen.
What is for you is just for
Absolutely.
you.
Absolutely.
With that, before you go further, S.T.A.R, I heard the acronym, but what is the meaning of S.T.A.R to you? Not with just breaking down the numbers, the letters, because even with higher powers and vision, what when you thought of S.T.A.R, what was your thought for S.T.A.R initially?
Yeah. To help people, not just that have been through what I've been through. My goal was to stop people from getting to the point of going what I've been through. If I could stop one person from going to federal prison. We have residents from all stages. Some honestly are at the beginning of their criminal career. This is their first time in trouble. They have an opportunity to do this, move on. We have some people that are career criminals. This is their 4th or 5th time out of prison. So there's various backgrounds in the home. So this is their opportunity to see that growth, and I can stop this now, or I can see that person. I can see the vision of where this is going to lead me. So the vision was to help anyone that's incarcerated and those coming home, but ultimately it was to stop people from going in the first place.
Yes, I feel you there. Now, David, even with S.T.A.R, and like you said how you were overwhelmed the first day, but now that you are a graduate, now that you are somebody that is seasoned with S.T.A.R, what does S.T.A R mean in you?
It means hope. It means that if you really put forth the effort and you really want to change your life, it can do it. You can do it. Mm-hmm. It gives you the opportunity. It gives you that 6 months to just focus on you. You know, they read the big book, which, you know, I'm gonna be honest, I really don't believe everything that I read in this book. But one thing that it does say is, you know, don't get into a relationship the first year of your recovery.
Yes, that's strong.
So by them saying that, they want you to focus a whole year just on yourself.
Yes. Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense because, I mean, for you, David, I can imagine for 20 years you were not yourself.
No,
you didn't have an identity.
I built somebody else.
Yeah.
Prison caused me to build a different identity, and it became after you practice something for so long, it becomes you.
Right.
Yes.
So yes, I became that person while I was in prison, and now I'm slowly becoming the person that I was, or I am.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Now, is that part of the programming? I heard that you have IOP and psychological things. Is that part of the programming, self-awareness itself?
Sure. Mm-hmm. We also have to, it's good to have a sober living home, but you also need the other components. Treatment, therapy, things like that are critical to growth, and especially when you're new in recovery. You need some guidance. You need to know, hey, how am I receiving information? How is it, affecting me, in my life? What are my triggers? Do I have any coping skills? So it's learning these things and then bringing them, full speed into your own life.
Yes, absolutely. So I do want to thank Tia and David for being here with us. Both of them I've known personally for years. Met them and in business. Tia is somebody that I followed her vision for a while, and she asked me years ago to come alongside and just kind of watch how the business is ran. So I will say that I'm very proud of both of them. And to lead us out, Miss T, if you could look into the camera, if there's somebody out there who, wants to change their life, wants to be an entrepreneur, wants better for themselves in any aspect, what advice could you give them?
If you can dream it, you can make it happen. A dream can't become a reality if you don't put it into a goal. I always tell the residents, write down your goals, short term, long term. It solidifies it. We all can say we want to do this and that, but once you write it down, you create a checklist. Okay, I've conquered this, or I've completed that, and you can actually see your growth. So to anybody that, change is possible. You have to make a commitment every day to be a better person. Change isn't easy. I'm not going to tell you that it is, but it's necessary. And with the help of your higher power and, working the program and surrounding yourself with a team of people that want to see you win and succeed and be successful, you change your social setting, you change your life.
Amen. Amen. So I do want to thank you for being with us tonight.
Hold on, Jill. Hold on. Before we leave, David, I don't want to leave him out. The man that's just walking out of a correctional facility today, federal, state, whatever, he's down on his hope. He doesn't have hope. He doesn't know. Encourage that young man that just came out of a facility and how they can make it in his life.
What I would say is the situation that you're in right now at the present moment doesn't define that the situation you're going to be in the future. It all depends on you. Your choices, your decisions, it's all going to make you who you are. So if you make the right choices and the right decisions, there are people that's willing to help and encourage you to be the better man.
Absolutely. And keep an eye on S.T.A.R Care Services. I haven't been given permission to tell the whole story, but there are some things that are coming up in the future.
One more time, just have Miss T tell us where we can reach S.T.A.R or anybody that needs help from S.T.A.R.
Sure. You could contact us directly by phone at 260-702-0925. You can visit our website at starcareservices3.com, and you certainly can send an email, starcareservices3@gmail.com.
Lovely. And Clarence, if you will lead us out, what we always say when we exit.
Always protect your mind.
A podcast by Neutral Voices Media Group. In the Know.